in a bold career shift, you are in the right place. Proposal development is one of the hottest, fastest growing fields out there, especially in government and corporate sectors where skilled professionals are really high in demand right now. By the end of the session, you'll walk away with a clear picture of what proposal development actually is, insight into why it is a global career opportunity you don't want to miss, the must have skills to succeed in this field, and practical steps to get started and grow your career. And for those who are ready to take the next step, I'll share how our certification courses in proposal development can fast track your journey to success. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the speaker for today's session, Farhina, our learning and intervention specialist at HiQmah. Farhina is someone who is now a powerhouse in this space with hands-on experience working with US clients and training professionals in federal proposal development. Before I hand it over to Farhina, just to let you know that we will be running some fun polls throughout the session, so don't forget to participate. And if you have any questions, please keep dropping them in the chat while we go along. Marina, the stage is yours. Over to you to take us on this incredible journey into proposal development.
Thank you so much, Kesser, and welcome to the session, everyone. Glad to see you all here. I can see a lot of known faces, known names, and many new names around here. So before we get started, I am going to reiterate on what Kesser already mentioned. The purpose of this informative session is to give you an idea of the job roles in this domain and how we at HiQmah can provide you gain the skills that are needed. So, without delaying any further, let's begin with the most important question. What exactly is proposal development? Now, I know a lot of you are already aware of what proposal development is, but for those who don't know, let's start with the question. How many of you have ever filled out a government form in India? Maybe a PAN card, an Aadhaar update, or even a college admission? I believe almost everyone, correct? So, what happens if you miss one requirement that is asked in the document, or you do not follow the exact format that they have asked for? Your application might get rejected, right? So, proposal development works the same way. But instead of an application for one person, it is an application worth crores of rupees or even millions of dollars for a company. It is how companies convince the governments, different corporations, or even organizations that they are the best choice to deliver a solution. So, if we look at it in simple terms, we can say it is a comprehensive and persuasive document that shows the government we understand your problem. This is how we are going to solve your problem, and here is why we are the best choice. Now, let me give you an example that is a bit more relevant. Imagine this: the government of Maharashtra puts out a notice that we need a company to build 200 classrooms in rural areas. And now dozens of companies will compete with each other for this one opportunity. And each one will submit a proposal. What is a proposal? A detailed plan that will explain how they will build those classrooms, what technology they'll use, how much will it cost, and how fast they'll get the job done, right? Now, out of all the competitors, the government will only choose one company. And the quality of that proposal, not just the solution, but how well it follows the instructions, often makes the difference in winning and losing a contract. And that is exactly what proposal development is all about. To understand it further, let's divide it in certain basic elements. Now, the first and most critical element of proposal development is compliance. It's all about following the instructions that would be given to you in the solicitation document, which again is the document released by the government to express their needs. Let's take another example to simplify it. If this solicitation document says that you have to submit your document or your proposal in PDF format and say 12 points TNR font, and maybe with it provide 3 past performances or 3 years of experience, then your proposal must have all of that. Compliance shows two things to the agency or the government. First, that you can follow the instructions carefully, and second, that you're capable of delivering exactly what they want. And that is what makes it one of the most important elements of proposal development. The next element we have is writing. Now, proposal writing is not the same as marketing or creative writing. So it may sound similar. In marketing, we try to sell things. We use catchy words, slogans, and sometimes even emotional appeals. In proposal development, however, the challenge is different. Yes, we're still selling. We're selling a solution, our company, or rather the client's company that we would be working with, and their ability to deliver. But here is the catch. We cannot use marketing or fluffy language or any statement like that that carries technical jargons. Instead, proposal writing is about being clear and simple. We write in a way that the evaluator can quickly understand what we are offering, how it meets their requirements, and why we are the best fit. Now, let's talk about the third element, reviewing. A strong proposal is never written once and sent off. It goes through multiple layers of reviews, each with a purpose. You can think of reviews as a quality check, just like a product goes through quality testing before it's released. A proposal must go through reviews before submission. So now we have a brief idea of what proposal development really is, the key elements that make it successful. Before we move on to different job opportunities in this domain, it is important to understand something. Your main role when you enter this field will be that of a proposal writer. Now, proposal writer is actually a blanket term. Why? Because before you specialize in any other role like a capture manager, proposal manager, or a reviewer, these are the roles that we will discuss as we move along. You will first need to learn the ins and outs of writing and developing the proposal, and that is the foundation. So you might ask, what are the qualifications that we need to start as a proposal writer? Here is the good news. Any graduate can be a proposal writer. I know a lot of you have a lot of questions, and we will be addressing the questions at the end of this session. You can drop them in the chat as we move along. So now we know, we have a brief idea of what proposal development is and the main role you would start with as a proposal writer. Let's look at the step-by-step workflow of how a proposal is actually created. Don't worry, this process is not to scare you. It is important for two main reasons. It shows you that proposal development is much more than just writing. It also shows you the different job roles that companies hire for at each stage. So the first step is finding the right opportunity for your client that you'd be working with, the contractor who would want to work with the government. And that is what we call an opportunity search. Now, say the government has a requirement of 40 computers and they release a solicitation document for it. If you believe your client has the capability of providing the government with those 40 computers, you will suggest your client to bid on this opportunity. Simple, right? So we do this using different portals where governments and agencies publish their tenders or solicitations. Now, these solicitation documents again carry out the needs, the requirements, and instructions by the government. And here is where the first career opportunity lies. Many companies hire a capture manager or business development analyst whose main responsibility is to track and identify these opportunities. Now, once we have an opportunity in hand, the next step is creating the outline of the proposal document. You can think of it like making a blueprint before building a house. The outline is going to ensure that we cover every section of the document. And alongside this, we prepare something called matrices. Again, nothing scary, just some tools that make sure that we are in compliance with the instructions and that nothing is missed out. Here, too, the companies often hire people, mostly in house, just to work on outlines, document management, or compliance tracking. These are the roles that require strong organizational and detail oriented skills. After the structure is ready, we move on to the actual response writing, and that is where the proposal writers draft clear, persuasive, and compliant responses to the agency's requirements. Now, this role is what most of you would start with, and it is also the backbone of entire process. Now comes something unique in the world of proposal development, color team reviews. At different stages of development, the proposal is reviewed by different teams. For example, we have a pink team review that checks the initial draft that we have created to submit to the government. Then we have a red team review, which checks for compliance and competitiveness, and then few more, including a gold team review, the final executive review. Now, these reviews you can think of like checkpoints. They ensure proposal is polished and ready to win. And yes, companies also hire dedicated reviewers for this stage. And these roles are ideal for people who are good at analysis and maybe spotting the gaps. Finally, after multiple reviews and refinements, the proposal is submitted. And in the post submission stage, in case we do not win a contract, because there is a possibility we might not always win, what do we do in that case? We work on the feedback. And in case we do win it, we document the best practices. So, as you can see, proposal development is not just about writing, it is a complete process. And at each stage, there are companies looking for skilled professionals, capture managers, reviewers, writers, or someone to create outlines. Not just that, some companies require what we call a proposal manager, and that is someone who handles everything for a company from the initial step until submission. Now, you've seen the workflow, you can see the potential job opportunities, but again, the real question is, why is this such a fast growing career path? What are the current market trends, and why should proposal development interest each one of you? Let me break it down in three big reasons. First, it's a growing industry and there's a demand in outsourcing. If we look at the US federal government, it is the world's largest buyer of goods and services. They spend anywhere between 600 and more than $750 billion each year on contracts. That's an enormous number, right? And these cover everything from defense systems, IT modernizations, cybersecurity upgrades to healthcare, construction, and research and development. That alone should give you an idea that their contract market is enormous. If you have a look at the lower right corner of your screen, you can see a graph there that shows the agency wide spending in the federal market in the financial year 2025 alone. And here is the important part, the governments rarely do this work in house. They outsource. If they need to replace an IT system, there's a contract. If they need a stronger cybersecurity, there is a contract. And if they want to upgrade the hospitals, the railways, again, there is a contract. Now, we know that every contract needs a proposal, and every proposal needs skilled professionals. And that is why it is a rapidly growing field with competitive salaries. Now, because federal governments or federal contracts for that matter are large and critical with strict requirements, there are companies or vendors who are willing to pay well for people who can actually create winning proposals. That means this career is not only stable but also financially rewarding. So, if you develop the right skills, compliance, structured writing, review process, you can grow rapidly from an entry level proposal writer into mid level and senior roles like proposal manager or capture manager. You might already have an idea that there is an expansion of global procurement. Now, this is not just a US trend. Globally, the procurement is expanding. If you look around, the countries are privatizing the parts of their sectors, be that rail, be that health, utilities, infrastructure, and they are outsourcing the operations. That means the governments are putting out contracts. The UK and Canada are good examples. In Canada, the federal procurement system mixes competitive solicitation documents and frameworks, much like US federal contracts. Even if we have a look at the trends in India, to be more relevant, we have platforms like GEM, right, where government releases tenders for contractors. And the privatization of sectors like railways, for that matter, are creating new outsourcing opportunities. So it won't be wrong to say that future of Indian procurement could be proposal writing as well. You might be wondering, why is she telling us all of this? Because while our focus is on federal contracting, the skills you learn here can translate into many procurement systems globally. And once you know how to write and manage proposals, you can adapt to different procurement systems worldwide. Now, let's talk about something really important. What are the skills that you need to succeed in proposal development? The good news is you do not need to be an engineer or a lawyer or a technical expert to start. What matters is mastering the set of core practical skills that anyone can learn with the right guidance. Let me walk you right through them. So, first we have proposal writing and editing. This is a foundation. You'll need to write responses that are clear, persuasive, and compliant. Remember, proposal writing is not about writing fluffy words or marketing language. It's about providing solution to the government's needs in plain professional terms. Let me give you one small example to understand. Instead of saying, we are best in the market, you'd write, we have successfully delivered 10 similar state government projects meeting all compliance and timeline requirements. Do you see the difference? One is fluff, the other is factual and persuasive. Next up is project management. Now, proposals often run on tight deadlines and involve multiple people who work together. They can be writers, they can be subject matter experts, bid analysts, and we have to manage timelines, coordinate inputs, make sure nothing slips through the cracks, which is very crucial. So, if you're good at organization and coordination, you already have a head start here. Next up is compliance and regulations, which is the most critical skill. You must ensure that proposal meets every single instruction in the solicitation. Even missing a single form or submitting the wrong format can disqualify a proposal immediately. Compliance is like following exam instructions. If they say you have to write, suppose a 500-word essay, you would write 200 words. What would happen? You might fail, no matter how brilliant your content is, because you are not making sure the instructions are being followed. Correct? In proposals, the consequences are the same. Now, a big part of proposal development is doing your homework. And that is where research and analysis come in. You will need to do the research. You'll need to know what exactly the government wants from you. Who else might be competing? Because obviously, there will be multiple competitors who want to bid on the same opportunity. And you want to know how your client can stand out. And that is where analytical and critical skills come into play. So, if you enjoy digging into details and connecting the dots, this skill will fit you well. Finally, proposals are not created in isolation. You'll work with technical experts, your client's in house teams, maybe a graphic designer, and being able to communicate clearly and collaborate effectively is what runs a rough draft into a polished winning proposals. So these five skills, writing, project management, compliance, research, and communication, are what make your proposal the most successful one. And here's the most important part: none of these skills are innate. You don't have to be born with them, they can all be learned, practiced, and improved. And that's exactly why our certification program focuses on these areas to give you the practical tools and confidence you need to step into this career. Now, we have looked at the skills you need. Let's talk about the part that usually excites everyone: the salary potential in this domain. For Indian markets, the entry level role offers 1.8 to 7.8 lakh per year, while the mid level positions will range from 5 lakh to 14 lakh per year. Senior level roles can earn 19 to 20 lakh per year. And if you look at the US market, the entry level salaries are between 50 and $70,000 per year. Mid-level roles pay you 75 to $100,000 per year, while the senior roles range from 110,000 to 150,000 and more dollars per year. So you can look at the career progression path, which starts with a junior proposal writer, and then the topmost role being that of the proposal director. You can see there's a clear growing ladder in this career. The more skills and experiences that you gain, the more you are rewarded. Now, let's take a quick look at the current job market in India for proposal development and proposal writing roles. On your left, you can see the data from shine.com, which shows 861 job openings. And on your right side, we have listings from Naukri.com, which is the biggest job portal in India with a whooping 21,189 job findings. It highlights positions such as proposal writer, senior proposal writer, and other similar roles in cities like Hyderabad, Delhi, and even remote opportunities. Now, we do not have these jobs available just outside of Kashmir. In case there are some Kashmiris wondering, we do not want to move out. There are many startups in Kashmir right now who are actively hiring for the proposal writers. And for anyone aiming to build a career in proposal development, India is currently showing a healthy demand with thousands of opportunities spread across multiple sectors and regions. So by now, we've seen a few things very clearly. First, the proposal development is a growing global industry. The US government alone spends over $600 billion each year on contracts. The salaries are competitive, the rules are varied, and there are opportunities to work remotely with companies spread across the world. And the skills required: writing, compliance, research, project management are all the things that you can learn with the right guidance. Now, here is the reality. Most of us were never taught these skills in school or college. We know the theory, we might get to know the theory, but we are not prepared for this kind of structured professional work. And that's exactly why we at HiQmah have built a proposal development certification program. It is industry aligned. Training is designed to bridge the gap from college to corporate. You'll learn the terminology, compliance requirements, and tools that professionals actually use on the job. Our trainers have hands on experience in US federal and corporate bids, and we support you beyond the classroom. So, if you have been wondering how you can enter a career that is not only in demand, but also financially rewarding and globally relevant, this is your chance. At HiQmah, we don't just teach you, we prepare you to step confidently into the role of a proposal writer and then grow from there. All right. So, we have talked about the opportunities in proposal development, the demand, the salaries, the skills you need. But the question you might be asking right now is, how do I actually get started if I want to continue with this particular domain? That's exactly where HiQmah comes in. Our program is built to bridge the college to corporate gap. What does that mean? It means we focus not on generic theory, but on exactly what the industry requires, the kind of knowledge that makes you job ready from day one. We focus on terminology, compliance, and practical skills. Now, you might have a slight idea that proposal development has its own language, its own rules. And we'll train you on terminology, compliance requirements, and hands on practice with real RFPs or the solicitation documents. So you're not just learning about proposals, you're actually learning how to do them. If we talk about our trainers, there are professionals with US federal and corporate bid experience. That means you are learning not from the textbooks, you're learning directly from people who have written and managed proposals worth millions of dollars. And we don't stop at training. We provide career guidance, interview preparations, and global opportunity support. So when you finish, you know not just the skills, but also how to position yourself for the roles that you want. So when you choose HiQmah, you're not just signing up for a course, you're choosing a pathway into global career, one that is in demand, rewarding, and absolutely achievable with the right training and support. Now, let's talk about the impact we have been able to create so far. Currently, we have 3 active courses running. In our proposal development program alone, we have enrolled 142 learners, out of which 126 have successfully graduated. What's even more encouraging is that we have already facilitated 70 placements through our partner organizations. Now, speaking of partnerships, on the academic side, we have built strong collaborations with Kashmir University and the Islamic University of Science and Technology. These institutions are helping us reach the young talent and prepare them for industry needs. On the industry side, our clients include iQuizar, CyberX, Accentuate High-Tech, and Shavir LLC, who have trusted us to provide them with skilled professionals. So that was just a glimpse into how proposal development actually works and how it can shape your career path. Thank you all for your time and attention. I hope this session gave you at least some amount of clarity and inspiration to take the next step that you have to. With that, I will hand it over to Kessa. Thank you. Kessa, over to you.
Thank you so much, Farina. That was a wonderful session. And thank you, everyone, for participating in the polls. And some of you have also asked questions. So we now move on to the most exciting part of the session, that is the Q&A. Now, if anyone has any questions, any queries, any suggestions as well, please drop them in the chat. I'll pick those questions up and I will pass them on to the speaker to answer those questions. So if you are connected through your laptop, you have a chat option at the top of your screen. If you're connecting through your mobile phone, you will see three dots at the bottom of your screen. You click on that, then you will find the chat option. Please use that and drop your questions. Let's make this session more interactive and engaging. We already have a couple of questions. Someone has asked a question. Basharat has already asked a question about. The question is, will you be sharing the recorded lecture as well? Yes, Basharat, we'll definitely do that. Once this is done, we'll share this in the email with everyone who has participated. Any book, any lecture? Again, the question from Basharat. Any book, any lecture series that will help a person in enhancing his skills in PD? Uh, Farina, would
Uh,
you like to take
yes,
that
I would like
question?
to take that, Kesser. Basharat, so in PD, it's a very vast domain. I know we do not, unfortunately, have any books or lectures that you can opt for. In fact, HiQmah is one of the only institutions in the whole India that is providing you with this kind of certified training. So, if you want to learn more about proposal development, you can join our training program, which is a 3 month training program. It will be for 3 hours per day. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks so much, Farina. Another question we have from Mujtaba is HIQmah focusing on federal contracting specifically? If yes, how is it different from the private company RFPs and RFIs?
Okay. Well, the RFPs and RFIs are actually a part of federal contracting. We have state contracting as well, and that's all a part of US government contracting. Our focus mainly is on the US federal government contracting. The RFIs and RFPs that you're asking about are a part of federal government contracting. The private companies who deal with this are who are working with the contractors in the USA who have outsourced a part of their job so that the private companies can prepare winning proposals for them. So, if that is what you're asking, the RFIs and RFPs are actually a part of federal government contracting, the solicitation documents that we were just talking about. And that is exactly what you would be learning in our training program.
Thank you so much. I hope, Mujtaba, that answers your question. Another question from Mohsin Basharat. I'm not sure if that question is clear. It says Shipley Volume 1 and Volume 2.
I did not quite get that, Kesser. Can you please repeat that one?
Uh, the question just says Shipley Volume 1 and Volume 2.
So we follow certain guidelines that are called ship plays, and volume one and volume two is what you would be creating when you're creating the proposal. So let's not confuse the rest of our viewers. The volumes are the different documents that we create as part of our proposals. And yes, we submit it in different documents that we name as volume one and volume two.
Thank you, Farina. Another question is from Floyd Khan. What is the procedure of joining that 3 month batch that you were talking about? Okay, I can answer that question. So the next 3 month batch we're going to start is going to be started in October. The procedure is that you either go to our website, hikmah.org. I'll drop that in the chat right after this answer. Or you can go to our socials like Instagram and you'll find the registration link to register for the batch in bio. And once you register, you will get a call from one of our team members and then you will be added to the batch. We have dropped the website link in the chat. Floyd, you can visit it and register yourself. Can you put some more light on the placement process after completing the 3-month batch? This is asked by Mujtaba. I can answer that question again. So Mujtaba, here is what we do. Just to be clear on the 70 placements that we have been able to make so far, are the placements that we have been able to make through our partners. But there have been other trainees who have got placed in other companies, companies that we are not partnered with, but many of them have gotten placed. At least we have a record of 80% of people getting placed in different organizations. Now, what we do is you need to enroll yourself in the batch, you need to get trained, you need to clear the evaluations, you need to get certified, and then we have requisitions from our placement partners who request team members for interviews. We suggest recommend you for the interviews. You go, you have to crack the interview on your own, obviously, and once you do that, you get placed. That's how it works. Although HiQmah is just a training program, but that is something that we are doing pro bono on our own, just to ensure that it it creates the benefit that we are trying to making sure it does. Okay. We have also dropped the registration link in the chat as well. I hope that answers your question, Mustafa. If anyone has any other questions and queries, please go ahead. No questions? Well then, if today's session resonated with you and you are ready to take the next step, we are excited to let you know that our next batch, as I said earlier, is starting this October. So if you're looking to kickstart your career, now is the perfect time to join us. You can email us your queries, directly call us on 9103-707-008 or visit our offices at Gangred and Karanagar. As I said earlier, again, we're also active on Instagram and other social media handles where we regularly post updates, success stories, and valuable insights. Be sure to follow us there as well. We'd love to see you becoming part of our growing community. So I want to thank you so much for your time, your attention, and your participation today. We truly appreciate it, and we hope to see you again very soon. Take care, and thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.